I'm inclined to give it, but unlike last time where they took a lot longer than I was planning, I'd like Jody to be on the timer and tell them that they have 20 minutes.
Give a 10-minute paddle.
I will make one especially for that.
It's exactly what we talked about internally. So what we thought was we'd start out with obviously having council having the opportunity again to ask questions, ask any questions of staff, any of the developer, potentially then using that time as obviously well to lead into their 20-minute presentation.
I would assume the presentation would go first.
It's up to council how you want to do that. If you're going to offer the council their opportunity first if you want to do it.
I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Because they answer a lot of the remaining questions, or answer, I assume that their presentation is designed to address a lot of questions that you or the public can ask,
Right.
and may answer additional
Yeah.
questions you have.
Why don't we do that first? And are we gonna get done with everything non-related to the annexation first?
You mean
Like
regular?
CLO and like all the regular agenda
No,
items first?
I think the way we did last time was to take this first and push the regular council meeting off until later.
Okay.
Because the bulk of the crowd's gonna be there for this item, so rather than making them wait through a 45-minute meeting around.
I thought for sure they were here for the survey. Isn't that what you guys are coming on Monday? Survey?
Yeah.
Oh.
Elimination program.
So we gotta listen to the people.
They're captivated later.
So if I'm hearing, we want Snoqualmie Heights to have 20 minutes, and they're going to be told that they are done at 20 minutes. And then are we going to take public comment after that? And then allow, I'm struggling a little bit, and Matt, maybe you can chime in on this issue. What I don't want to do is take a presentation from the developer and then spend X minutes doing public comment, which is very important, but it leaves us no time to actually deliberate and discuss it. And so I'm trying to balance how do we make sure that we allow time for council to ask all their questions, because this is the last opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what we did in the format before that seemed to work well was to provide an hour for the council to do a lot of deliberations and questions of the applicant and of the staff, with the idea that that would prime the pump or at least elicit questions or answer questions of the public, and then the public could at least respond or then follow, another hour then allocated to the public, where at least they could react to the conversations they heard prior to that. I think it's more beneficial.
Yeah, well, my only problem about that is that hour went really fast, and we have a lot more questions in that hour.
Right, and you're now devoting 20 minutes of it to the applicant, which gives you about 40 minutes to deliberate.
So-
That doesn't mean you couldn't push, the applicant presentation, the council deliberations, which is further questions of the applicant and the staff for another hour, and then an hour for the public. Just be prepared to go till midnight.
So this may not be wildly popular, but, so I want to make sure I'm on the record as absolutely being clear that public comment is critical. It's been very important in helping me form my opinion, which I still haven't decided what I'm going to do.
I would agree.
But at the same time, Monday's it. So the public comment that we get is probably going to be very similar to the same people for the most part.
So
same thing.
I'm sorry, Sean, for interrupting, it just light bulb went on and I want to ask, can we limit public comment to those who have not spoken yet?
That's entirely the council's decision to do it. In fact, if this committee wants to advise me that that's your desire, then I'm happy to do this with your council.
And so it's just getting to my point that, again, it's a critical element of deciding what we're going to do, but at this point, the most important information from my view is the interaction that's going to come back and forth between those proposing to annex this area and those who have to decide whether pre-annexation is a step we want to move forward on or not move forward on. And I feel like I'm going to get more information that's going to help me to make that decision, which I still haven't decided on, from interaction with the developer and other council members than I am from a parade of supporters and a parade of non-supporters coming up and saying the same things. Because of what also maybe the public doesn't understand is that there have been countless meetings and hours spent with all of these parties outside of council
Yeah.
addressing these issues. And so, in fact, I personally spent far more hours talking with people on both sides of this issue than I've heard from the developer, probably times 10. So that's just my concern. Again, I'm not anti-public. I proposed the agenda that allowed for 3 public meetings to have place
So
in.
you,
So
you guys feel that an hour might be too much to allocate to public comment then? You want to devote the bulk of this to, this is the final opportunity for deliberations.
So how about this, Sean and Catherine, how about we give the developer 15 minutes and we give 30 minutes to the public with the priority of those who have not spoken before, and then the rest of the time for council to ask questions and deliberate.
I actually like that order.
But I also think it's important that the staff address some of the things as well.
Yeah.
And make a recommendation.
And that's something we really didn't get last time. Is
Bob
staff
and Matt, do
presenting?
you have time in there for staff? Are staff making any formal presentations, or are they just there to answer direct questions?
No, we were expecting that at some point, council as a group would turn to the mayor and ask for the mayor and staff's recommendation on this, after all the discussion's been exhausted. That brings up another point. If council is of a mind to want to do something on Monday, August 24th, you certainly obviously
You
welcome
mean
to
the
do that.
21st?
You could go to the 21st of August, yes, if you want to. The deadline is actually that night.
21st,
So, 21st.
Monday.
So if council wanted to have a lot of deliberation Monday night and then reserve the 21st for ultimately deciding, that way you can at least form your ideas after you've heard everything. That way you
Mark,
don't-
is there a planning?
I don't know about Sean and Catherine, but I'd like to try to get to a vote on the 14th, if at all possible. So I guess Bob and Matt, what I'm asking for is, in addition to the 15 minutes for the developer and the 30 minutes for public, should we also allocate 15 or 20 minutes to staff?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I think you should plan for 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
And-
So in
And
what
does
order?
that allow them enough time? Because I suspect you'll have various staff members will want to, I'm just thinking about the presentation from Nancy on water, and I'm sure Mark has some topics.
We're gonna coordinate it through one person. Mark Hoffman's been designated as the lead in this. He'll,
Okay.
if council were to ask us, we can certainly put something together, put it back before Monday night, or we can introduce it on Monday night. We've obviously been talking internally with the mayor and forming some ideas about how we see this thing,
There's a couple ways. If you gave it to us ahead of time, that would allow us to digest it and then have that 15 minutes be more of a Q&A directly with you guys. If we just get it dropped on us the day of, obviously we won't have read it, and so it becomes a presentation and a
Right.
question follow-up afterwards.
That was my concern, when you introduce it Monday night, you probably want to take the time to consider.
I personally would love to have it on a Friday or Saturday, so I have a chance to review it, and then that might be a more informed conversation between us.
We were thinking, leaning towards that, but we didn't want to suggest one way or the other.
But I do obviously want you available to ask questions at any point, for us to ask questions of you, but I do like the idea of 15 minutes developer, 30 minutes, the people. And then I don't know if we go the 15, 20 minutes with staff and then us, or flip that.
I'd rather flip it.
Flip it? So we go 15 developer, 30 to the people, the next hour or whatever to council, and then, any sort of Q&A for 15, 20, whatever it is, with staff. Does that sound like a reasonable order?
Yeah, with the idea, I don't think you have to go rinse on the 30 minutes for the public, if there are quite a few new people or time allows, and you wanna, I think that the other direction would be if you have something new to add, and you're not repeating what you've already made in the record.
That restriction would be like asking people to not clap and expecting them to obey.
It's way to decorum, you know.
I think that was helpful to developers to not have to go back, right? Otherwise, everyone will feel comfortable about it.
Now, if council would do this this meeting here with this committee is asking for staff through the mayor to develop a set of recommendations, just so we can draft that. If we are putting it out to council before the meeting, that will make it a public document. We have no issues sharing, obviously, but let's make sure you're aware of that.
We just don't quite.
I was more looking for, some response to some of the items that have been brought forward. For instance, having Nancy weigh in on the water was very important, and I think there's other issues for staff to weigh in on. I have no problems at the end of that before council votes to get the administration's views on their recommendation at that time.
I can assure you that we'll be addressing all the issues that have been raised.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm just saying, I would rather have staff, focus just in terms of facts and let us draw the conclusions.
Correct. All right,
I'm gonna ask the mayor before I go what he thinks, but, so Matt, you're on, be prepared for me to ask that, but I'm just saying, I don't need it to be out in writing.
well, all right.
Just because you have to spend so much time worrying about how you weigh your words in a document like that, so I would rather staff spend their time on the facts.
So what you're saying is, no Friday or Saturday email sent, they will just.
No, not at all. What I'm saying is, I want presentation materials from staff Friday or Saturday so that we can do a Q&A. I don't need a recommendation from staff or the mayor until we're ready to vote.
Gotcha, okay, makes
Well,
sense.
the information they'll be receiving is gonna be very objective, and it will lead to eventually the recommendation of the mayor.
Correct.
So it's kind of part and parcel, but we'll just put it as is. We'll put together the list, and we won't obviously conjecture those as being opinions or anything else, or recommendations. We'll put
Yeah.
together, right?
Yeah.
Am I, Bob Larson, am I putting staff in an awkward position asking this?
No, I think, Kathy, I think you.
I thought I was trying to get them out of an awkward position.
No, I think you named the position. We were trying not to put the council in an awkward position by sort of jumping ahead and coming up with some recommendations. But we didn't want to push the council into a corner before they have freedom to fully explore all the questions and deliberate.
Yeah.
I think you basically described or nailed our concern too, which is to try to keep it fact-based, data-based, that the council could explore all the issues and questions.
I think the best way I can say it, so everyone who comes up and talks with us, the developer or the landowner or whatever, everyone here has an agenda. It may not be, they have a viewpoint, right? And so, when a developer gets up, of course they're gonna put their best foot forward, right? Just like I tried to when I was dating my wife and glued her into marrying me, right? You're always putting your best foot forward, because that's how negotiations work, and that's what you're trying to do.
And then she finds out the real fact.
What we don't want, yeah, exactly, it didn't take long. What we don't want is staff to do that, right? We don't want staff taking a position, we don't want to have to wonder like, okay, so just, I'm beating a dead horse, but
Typically, when the council receives stuff from staff, it's objective.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is you're in a circumstance to where there's a lot of gray and a lot of subjectivity, because the facts are a little muddy, and given that, this takes quite a bit more analysis and work on all parties to really.
Well, I wanna know where we don't have facts, right? We don't know, right? I wanna know stuff we don't know.
We hear that as well.
You have a lot more of that than
And I would expect at pre-annexation phase, I'm not surprised at that.
Right, exactly. So some of it is more of a, so given the facts or the lack of facts as they are at this point where a decision has to be made, there's a lot of subjectivity in where reasonable people can fall one way or the other based on the same set of information.
All right.
Okay. So I think we have all the public hearing items kind of, ironed out. Does everyone feel like they have a clear understanding of what we're doing Monday night?
Do you mind if I repeat it to you so I can get the agenda correct?
Sure.
It's gonna be I believe under presentation. I think I'm gonna change that heading to presentation, because there really is no public hearing. So the first thing, that would be 15 minutes, a strict 15 minutes for the initiating party. Second would be a 30-minute, public comment time, priority of those that have not spoken before. Third would be 1 hour, council questions and discussion. And then 4 would be, 15 to 20 minutes of staff comments. And then,
Which is just over 2 hours.
okay, so is that all that you would, then I would keep on here possible council action. I will keep that on the agenda. At the very-
Yeah.
And as a protocol policy, council action, I guess we would roll into the regular city council meeting, a resolution or 1 or 2 options to keep it, is that right?
I don't know if we listed resolution.
You haven't put it on there.
No, I was possible council.
But we can certainly bring two.
So Bob Serving, I really don't, want to put a, resolution on the agenda because people will read into that that's a done deal. And in my opinion, I'm in, Sean's, court. I'm not going to make up my final decision until probably when I vote. So, but could you have the language there if we do want to do a verbal resolution?
Well, what I was suggesting is that we could put in the packet 2 resolutions, a yes and a no, there. And I think I've circulated previously the council's 10% notice of intention approval resolutions from SR1 and SR2. They're fairly short documents either way, so we could.
So are you suggesting that we have them on the actual agenda or that they're just in our agenda packet?
Either. I mean, I can bring them and distribute them, or we can put them in the packet, and then if council's ready to make a decision one way or the other, we can just number them consecutively, and then someone can move, option A or option B.
It'd be much cleaner if you had it on the regular agenda, that we can grab one or the other, which will make the motion.
I know that the optics on it, I don't like the optics of already having it on the agenda. And even if you put one and both of them on, where you've got one for and one against, people read into having what's on that on the agenda.
What's the alternative?
To have them on paper, in paper there, and that just means somebody has to make a motion for one or the other.
So keep it as possible action, under the presentation.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, it could be voted on right after the discussion, and then we just go.
In the order of this, I assume, if we do elect to vote, that we would, do that before proceeding on to the regular council business, right?
I would.
We'll list it as possible action. We won't list out any, yes and a no resolution.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable too, because I think it's possible it could slip to the following week. I don't think that's what people want. I don't think it's probable, but I think it's within the realm of possibility.
Okay. Catherine, are you okay with that?
Yes, that sounds fine. But you also do the financial. You're gonna do the financial statement as well.
Yeah, we've taken a look at it, but a lot of it's,
Just to make sure,
sorry. Kathy, this is Nicholas. The question was, are we gonna review the financial information? We have taken a look at it. There wasn't a lot of assumptions provided as far as where the impact analysis was coming from as far as the new revenue basis for sales. I know they had a lot of one-time construction activity, which we're quite aware of. But from an ongoing perspective, which really drives service levels, it's hard to really unravel where that analysis came from without having their actual financial model. So one of the opinions we may have is that it's a little too vague to really make a determination of how accurate that is. Certainly there are risks.
So as part of that analysis, will our police and fire have weighed in on what the services will be versus what developers say they think they'll be? And they might end up being the same thing, but I'd like the experts to.
We can certainly have individual staff for that part of the report that was submitted by the initiating parties. You can have the police chief, fire chief, public works director, parks director stand up. They confirmed already this morning, they had read through it, and that was the information we gave them.
Oh, okay, so it is our information.
We'll confirm that though today.
Okay,
Yes,
they typed it well.
yeah.
So some of the financial assumptions that we wouldn't necessarily have or know right now from their analysis is kind of the velocity at which, residency is gonna be taken in these units. We don't know exactly how quickly they're gonna actually deploy. We have our own economic overlay that we would want to put on that timing schedule and kind of look at when the revenues actually materialize for the city, especially from an ongoing.
So I'm curious, Mayor, I don't know what the right velocity is. I don't know, all these numbers that get thrown out lack context. So my question is, and again, this is actually before your time, that what I'm trying to get my head around, because I think the common thought is we're voting to annex or not annex on Monday, which is absolutely not even close to the truth, right? But with that perception being out there, what I'm trying to understand is this level of squishiness common for this stage of a annexation, which is a pre-annexation? Did we see the same type of squishiness, and I'm not, it's apples to apples, not apples to apples entirely, but with Quadrant and Weyerhaeuser and SR1 and SR2? And I'm just trying to get my head around that because there's a lot of squishiness. If this was the vote for annexation, it would be an absolute no on my part, right? But it's not. It's pre-annexation. So what I'm trying to understand is this an acceptable level of squishiness for this type of project at this phase?
And going from the comment before about staff bringing facts, some of the facts that we'll be able to bring next week will be a timeline that'll show you how fast the city moved on the other 10% for SR1 and SR2 versus when the environmental review then happened for those projects versus when the property was actually annexed. So
That would be very helpful, Bob.
What would also be helpful is...
I don't have everything nailed down, but
Oh, it's fine.
the short answer is I believe in both of those previous two instances, the time between submission of the 10% notice of intention and council acceptance of it was approximately a week or 2 weeks. And then there was a significant lag, year, 2 years, 3 years for environmental review, and then the 60%, and then approval of the 60%, and then in the case of SR1, another 4 or 5 years after that before the mixed-use final plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is too much to ask, but what I also don't understand, because I think there are aspects of Snoqualmie Ridge that are apples to apples, and I think some that aren't fair analogies. And so I don't know if there are regionally, if there are other situations where something like this has occurred. This might be a lot of work, I don't know, but where the timelines are similar or dissimilar. I don't know. No.
There were differences in timelines.
What do you mean the timeline?
Look, you're saying, you're asking about the timelines, which is narrower, which longer.
Let me go back to what I'm trying to get my head around is whether or not the squishiness or lack of detail around whatever aspect, finances, whatever, is within reason, given the stage we're at in pre-annexation. That's what I'm trying to understand. And if we have if Snoqualmie Ridge is a fair comparison, great. If it's not, are there other comparisons regionally that would demonstrate it is or is not?
I think that's an awfully tough question to answer, Sean, because I think every annexation/development is different.
Okay,
I
that's
don't
fair.
think there's a preset kind of standard you could look at.
Okay.
I don't know, Matt, Bob surveying, do you have a different opinion on that? My exposure to these annexations, they're always squishy. The timelines are always different, and it's because you're dealing with developers with a specific land, with a specific purpose that they think they want to do. And so there's never an apples to apple correlation.
Yeah, it's a bit of an apples to oranges comparison with our experience in Snoqualmie, because, those prior annexations always dealt with a single large, non-capitalized landowner, like Rico or Weyerhaeuser. In fact, for that reason, and given the size and the scale of that company, they were able to absorb more risk for a longer period of time, where even the whole mixed-use final plan was pretty much nailed out in detail before the annexation was even allowed to take place. I think to your question, Sean, might make sense, is the state law within the structure that way to accept the recognizing that there has to be a mitigation of risks and some sort of, several steps in the process. So I think it's, Bob, I expect to have more experience in other communities using the 10% methodology in annexation, which we haven't seen that before. But I think it's reasonable, and we would expect not a lot of specificity at a 10% phase. But both parties are sort of trying to mitigate risk, or my calculation is also I'm not trying to waste developers' resources, sing a song that maybe I give some more information. If I see a lot of red flags that might tell me you might say no in several months and you spend millions more dollars, because they're trying to look for a serious answer. Would you seriously entertain this before we go spending several million more dollars doing the in-depth analysis to get all of this more information? I mean, for example, one of the red flags is significant infrastructure costs that are very ambiguously defined right now from a connection on 80, as we when we met upstairs talked about that, going from the edge of that proposed development all the way down to a connection on Railroad Avenue. The politics of that, not to mention the costs and how the alignments and where we could get that done, around the bus barn and where that alignment would go, or the alignment up the North End Way, and whether that's feasible and how many hundreds of dollars that involved, even impact beyond that. Well, in the next phases, we would definitely have to flesh out those questions. The pencil might break even for them.
I think this type of process is meant to be deliberately vague, so we aren't spending a lot of time and resources.
Yeah, I mean, for many communities, I think it's designed for many communities, such as Snoqualmie with Bridge Phase 1. This was a city that was on the verge of going bankrupt. It had been in a period of decline for some time because of the increased frequency of flooding, because a number of things had been done that increased that are aggravated. A mill site that was the economic driver and engine of the valley that started going to decline, and the community along with it. Even starting in the late 50s or early 60s with the interstate freeway systems that smashed small town America main streets everywhere because everybody can now drive to the shiny new shopping mall. So it just had a perfect storm of things that sent this town into a death spiral. So a community, and that's where it goes to Kathy's point about everyone being so many unique variables, that although there might have been a lot of concerns and questions and red flags about impacts and change in the nature of the community, there was a compelling benefit, or have to, that would say, is this worth us exploring further? Yeah, sure as heck is, because the alternative is free rent. I think those variables are profoundly different now. The question is, are those ambiguities worth trading into? Is there a benefit there that we feel like is absolutely needed that would push us beyond the ambiguities of the risk?
All right, that's my question.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So Jody, do you have what you need?
Yes, I do, thank you.
Okay. It's getting kind of late, so I'm gonna move us along to the consent agenda. We have 105, which is advertised for bids for the striping project. I assume that is general housekeeping and nothing unusual?
Routine, same as last year before. We picked number of streets after stripe and includes the parkway.
With the difference that the committee has chosen, because there's a very compelling economic case for it, to invest in 3 to 4 or 5 year cycles using thermoplastic applications versus paint. Paint only lasts, pretty much every year you gotta do it. So thermoplastic's a bit more expensive, but you get a return on cost very quickly.
Like longer lifespan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm good with that. Sean, Catherine, anything?
Nope.
Nope, that's fine.
Okay, 106, which is Parks and Public Works to advertise for qualifications for the renovation and upgrade of the former library. I don't know if there's anybody in the room to talk about it, but, do we have a list of renovation items that we've identified?
Dan is not in the room, so I don't know that we have that for you right now.
Well,
Okay, but I'm assuming it'll be in my agenda packet?
yes, generally.
Okay, and are we trying to do just exterior work, which is kind of where we started, but is this also now the interior work from the identified committee?
Yes, we're anticipating the council might need several more months of deliberations to really determine, before investing significant dollars into the interior as well. So just, you know, there's an urgency obviously on the exterior, especially coming up to another winter and losing
Yeah.
a season or a warm season, get some work done. So we feel like we need to get moving before it gets more expensive and costly. Unless there's any inclination whatsoever, the council says, you know what, let's just give up on the building, tear it down and keep a little park over there until we figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
But, if we're gonna hang on to that building, we need to get it sealed up. So it's HVAC,
Okay.
it's new roof, new siding, or at least, repairing the siding and sealing it up.
So my question is on, what's the timeline on repairing the siding? Because we're not very good neighbors and there are several pieces of the building that have fallen off and it looks awful.
Well, we'll discuss it Monday night, but our expectation is the council approves this, we'll go forthwith and get somebody in here and start designing it and hopefully get it done as quickly as possible. I just spoke to staff about these items that are on the 2017, 2018 budget, and these were one of the enhancements that we so badly needed 2-3 years ago, and I just was reminded we need to get moving on these things.
So the idea is.
Yeah, no, hey, look, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to be critical. That poor building, all the siding on I don't even know what it's called, but the corner point
Yeah.
has fallen off, so you're seeing exposed lumber underneath that looks like it is now,
Rotting.
you know, we're just not being good neighbors. I don't know if, we have any staff that could very quickly go out and at least patch some of those so that it doesn't look so bad.
We're planning on putting some blue tarps all over it.
We've got a lot
Well,
of,
please do so. I'm sure I'll hear from all my neighbors then.
we have a lot of confiscated blue tarp, because, so we'll just use it up.
Okay.
No,
Well, hey, why don't you spray paint it green and then that'll match the building and I'll be happy.
I like that too.
Okay.
We'll ask Dan about that. Jody was pointing out that you're not likely to get a list. I mean, part of the scope of this work is having the outfit come in, a vendor come in and basically, thoroughly assess the building and the extent of the damage.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Question, should this be on the consent agenda or should it be a discussion item?
No, we prefer to move it unless the council feel they need to. We've had this discussion for a couple, 3 years now, it's ready to go.
Okay.
It's just our view.
When you got the two members here, they want to discuss further.
No.
I'm really looking at Sean and Catherine. If they're
No,
going
we
to
don't
help
need
me
to do
work
this